Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
Good Saturday morning, DFW. We've got an action-packed show. The studio is filled, and there's a lot of wonderful energy here. And I can't wait to introduce you to my first guest. You have heard of the horse whisperer. You're about to meet the cat whisperer of sorts, but she has a great name for herself. A cat sultant, Lana Rich. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thank you. It's great to be here this morning.
Well, I got to give a little bit of background because we go back a long time.
Yes, we do.
So when I was at Channel 4 from 92 to 2008, I used to do features on you. You owned and founded the Cat Connection, which is a landmark in Dallas.
Thank you.
And that really began your, I guess you doubled in size. I mean, you're a heck of an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
But let's talk about your new adventure.
Well, my newest adventure, which I've been doing, actually it's not really new. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, is when I sold the Cat Connection in 2000, which is almost 16 years ago, I guess, then I decided to strictly do in-home visits for people that have behavior problems.
Wow.
People would often ask when they came to see a Cat Connection, see us there, they say, my cat is having a problem, what can I do? And I would give some short tips or, quick tips there in the store, but I was blind to the environment in which the cat lives. So I decided when I would start making trips to the home to see the rest of the story, what the rest of the problems really were.
Wow. So like in the dog world, there's Cesar Millan, right? He's a very famous dog obedience consultant, if you will.
That's correct.
Is that what you do for cats?
That's what I do. You may have heard of Jackson Galaxy, who is also a cat behaviorist, very famous. He has a show on TV called My Cat from Hell.
Okay.
So I've seen some of those too. So it's a very interesting occupation, but people oftentimes don't realize. They say, well, how do you train a cat? Well, I don't know. They kind of come trained. What I have to do is train the owner.
Okay, so are cats more difficult to train than dogs?
Well, I don't know that they're harder to train. I think what the problem is that people are often misunderstand cats.
Okay. So the most common reason, we were talking out in the hallway before the show, what's the most common reason people will call you?
The number one reason that I get contacted is the problem with litter box behavior, litter box aversion.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's a very expensive problem for the owner to have to deal with. Sometimes they have to replace carpet, sofas, bedding, that sort of thing. And they love their cat, but they cannot take the behavior anymore. So sometimes when they call me, I'm the last resort before they take the cat to the shelter or try to rehome the cat.
Wow.
Which is very sad. So there's not any pressure there.
So how do you go about training a cat to use the litter box?
Well, what I do, number one, I always hit three bases to try to get the home run. We have to deal with behavior, we have to deal with physical issues, and we also have to deal with the environment. So you've got to deal with all of those. So I work closely with the veterinarian. I work as a team with the veterinarian and myself and the owner. It's kind of a three-legged stool.
Wow.
So we've got to work all together as a team to get the problem resolved. If we don't handle the behavior problem or the physical problem or the environmental issues, we're not going to get probably the resolution we want.
Let's talk about cat health in general, because I've noticed a lot of fat cats in America today. Are we feeding our cats too much?
I think that's a great question. I think the answer is probably yes. We may be feeding them a little more than they should be eating, but the problem is that we're feeding them too much in the way of food that is not good for them. They're not designed to eat grain, for example. They don't have this segment of the intestinal tract to even digest carbs. So when we feed them, especially a dry food, which is calorically very dense, they eat that, especially if you're offering it in a free feed kind of style for feeding for cats. They eat and eat and eat, trying to get the protein and the amino acids they need because they're obligate carnivores. They eat that, and they're consuming way too many calories.
Wow.
A lot of the vets are going over now to feeding and recommending wet food for cats because it has moisture and less calories.
So if you came into a home and they say, man, we need Fluffy here.
Be not so fluffy?
What's the first thing you do?
The first thing I do is we have to talk about exercise for the cat, too. I teach them how to play with the cat using certain types of toys that get the cats to move around. But the first thing is we have to address the diet. Like us. It's kind of uncomfortable sometimes, but we have to address the diet. So if the cat's eating properly, eating enough meat, they're obligate carnivores, which means they have a biological need for meat every day. If they're eating incorrectly and too many calories, then they're overfeeding the cat, and the cat becomes overweight.
Wow. Okay, my guest right now, Lana Rich. She is a cat consultant or catsultant. Her website, give it to us.
Catsultant.com.
And that's spelled like it sounds,
Just right.
catsultant.com.
That's
Okay,
correct.
let's talk about, I know one of the things that you're called in for is aggression or biting. As a parent, if a cat scratched my little girl, I would be freaking out.
Sure.
So what do you do?
That's an unacceptable behavior, of course. What I do is teach people that some cats are different, just like people, with how much tactile sensations they can stand. Some cats get overstimulated. We sometimes even overstimulate them by handling them too much. There's never been a cat born in the history of the universe, nor will there ever be, that has a need for a human to pick it up. That's our need. So when we hold the cat too much against its will, we pet it too hard, we play with our hands with the cat, we're teaching the wrong message to the cat. The cat's a hunter. All cats are hunters.
Right.
So I teach them to get the right toys that will tap into their hunter or huntress self and get that energy out every day doing what they naturally do in the wild.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about some of the other things that you're called in for. Destructive behavior, compulsive behavior. What's the compulsive behavior of a cat?
Sometimes they'll do something called over-grooming. they'll over-groom. That means they lick, and will produce bare spots on their stomach or hindquarters. And this can be physical, and it can be also from stress. So we have to loop in the veterinarian and look at the environment and see what the stressors are. When I go to a home, I do a complete environmental analysis to determine what are the triggers or stressors here that could be affecting the cat from the cat's perspective. Oftentimes people overlook that they've got all kinds of plug-ins all over the house, emitting artificial fragrances, which really bother the cat because the cat's sense of smell is 17 times stronger than ours.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay, so you've brought in some cat toys, if you will. Why don't you
Yes.
bring them a little closer so we can get them on camera?
Okay.
Show us some of the things that you've brought in.
Well, this is one of my favorites. It actually is a little mouse on the end of a wire, and you can wiggle it around. It actually looks like a mouse moving, but it's the most important thing is it doesn't have any plastic or rubber. It's made of deer hide,
Oh, wow.
which the cat recognizes as natural. So this will naturally engage a cat pretty quickly. Also, I've got feathers, peacock feathers, which are also very good. It's actually it still has the scent of the bird on it. So that will always engage the cat quickly. We've got also feathers that if they're moved
Right?
like this, it sounds like a bird's wings.
Wow.
And so we also have a long feather toy that has a bird at the end of it the toy is called the bird, like the bears.
Those are
And
cute.
it floats around in the air. And I've had cats 15 years old, and the owners will say, "Oh, Fluffy just really doesn't want to play anymore." And I get it out, and she's jumping. So the cat never quits being a hunter or a huntress. So we have to tap into who they are and get that stored up energy, discharged in a proper way.
What else have you brought in?
Well, I've got some things here. I've got treats, which are very important.
Okay.
If we're going to do any training, quote, training for cats, we have to do with food because cats are the biggest foodies on the planet. That's how they train cats for movies, is with food. A dog, you can say, "Good girl, good boy," and they like that,
Right.
But a cat, you say, "Good girl," and they look at you like, "Tell me something I don't know." So we have to use a little more motivation, and I'm not above bribery. And these are very, very good snacks and treats for them. There's one ingredient in these products. One is it's made by a company called Kathmandu, and one is just a little bit of bonita flakes. The other one is dehydrated chicken breast.
Wow.
So usually one or the other or both will almost work in almost every household. My cats love the chicken over the fish a little bit. This is like kitty crack. My cat will almost do the dishes for this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they love this stuff. So when we see behavior we want to reinforce, we always give them a treat. Cats are crepuscular animals. They're, real active like deer, dawn and dusk. So when they get the cat crazies, take advantage of that, get them hunting inside, of course, and then you give them a treat because they hunt and then they eat.
Now, like with children, often parents will give them a timeout. Is
Yes.
there a version of timeout for a cat?
You bet. Yeah, it's called the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah. With no treats or toys,
and does the cat-
no other, phones or iPads in there.
And does the cat get the message?
Yes. When they go to kitty timeout,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually about 10, 15 minutes, give them to think about it for a while, what they did. No. But you take them in the bathroom, and you don't give them anything when they come out. They'll not be rewarded for that.
Wow. Now, we kind of joke about cat whisperer, and I think, that everybody remembers the horse whisperer. Can you kind of read the mind of a cat? I mean, when you are meeting a cat for the first time, can you pick up on some things that maybe even their owner wouldn't?
A lot of times I do because the owner's so close to it, they can't see sometimes the things going on. But what we often do is people humanize their pets. This is for dogs and cats both. They humanize, and so they put their story on the cat. Think they're doing it because X or Y or Z, and they're only doing it because they're a cat. So cats, they have their own thing, and they do not have drama or stories like we make up. They're living in the moment. We should follow that. But they're just who they are, and that's who they are.
Okay, one final question because we're coming up on Halloween. Cat costumes. I think a lot of people like to dress up their cats for Halloween and for Christmas. Is that fun or is that annoying the cat?
It's annoying the cat. I think it's better for the person to dress up.
Okay.
Leave the cat alone. They think they look just really good the way they are. It's an insult to them, really.
Okay. We have so much material. We could probably do an hour together. So
We
why
could.
don't we have you back? Give us the
Great.
website one more time.
Catsultant.com.
Lana Rich, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up next, if you thought that you needed to up your game in the art world and you don't know peanuts about Picasso, you can't tell a Rembrandt from a Monet, you're about to get an art education from a master. That's just ahead on The Jeff Crilley Show.
More of The Jeff Crilley Show coming up.